Welcome to Mishna study, Masechet Sheviit, Perek Daled Mishna Zayin. Over here in this Mishnah, we're going to start speaking about when you're allowed to eat fruits on the Sheviit. Right? So we know in general, Harambam teaches us a law. He mentions it. He brings the Mekor, right, the source of the law over here, and he says, in general, in the Sheviit year, the pasuk says, "Mina sadeh tochelu et tevuata." Right? During the you could eat on the Shemitah year. From the field, you can eat its tevuah. Now, what's tevuah? Tevuah is ripened produce. So we learn from here, fruits are not allowed to be eaten until they are fully ripe, or in general, how people eat them in normal years, right? Otherwise, you're ruining fruits, right? You're ruining potential fruits. You can't go ahead and start picking, unripe things off the trees, and it has to be a fruit that you need to eat on the Shemitah year. I would just point out, Bartunara learns it from a different pasuk. He actually learns this dirasha from where it says, right, it needs to be, right, le'ochla needs to be eaten below the hefsed, right, and not to be ruined. And if you're eating them before the ripened stage, then it's, they're going to, to ruin. They're going to nothing, to waste. So, okay, so now, now Mishnah. When are you allowed to eat fruits of the tree on the Shemitah year? Hapagim, if they're unripe, mishi yazrihu. Right, once they start to, lashon hazriach over here is in the field, right? The Harambam points out that when they are in the field, you're allowed to eat them. Once they start to yavrihu v'yahaliku, they start to smoothen and shine. They have a nice shine to it. So you're allowed to eat them in the field, right? Because that's how people normally eat during a regular year. Any year, when they start to, if a person's working in the field, he eats some derech harai, like a little temporary type of eating. He'll pick it off the tree, even if it's a little unripe, once it starts to have a little shine, a sheen to that fruit, right? So just like a regular year, you're allowed to also eat during the Shemitah year similarly. I pulled a picture of it over here, so you see if it's unripe, but you see there's a shine to it on the green stage, right? So you're allowed to eat a little bit in the field at that point. Now, once they ripen, then you're allowed to bring them into your home. And similarly, other types of fruits. Now, other types of fruits, Rambam over here, first of all, says, we're talking about over here in general, the fruits. When you said, when do you eat fruits of the trees in the Sheviit, he said, we're talking about figs. Right? Hence, I added it into the title of the Mishnah. Rambam says, right? When we said pagim, he said that we're talking about really only of regular, of figs. And we'll see in two Mishnayot, we're going to actually speak about when's the time that you're allowed to eat the rest of the fruits. So over here, our Mishnah is talking about figs, and we say, and similar to other types of fruits that fall into this category, meaning what? Meaning that other fruits that also have a sheen to it in its unripened stage, you're allowed to eat them in the field a little bit as a temporary eating at this, once they have this little sheen to it. And then once they fully ripen, you bring them into your house. Similarly, and we'll learn this more in Masechet Ma'asrot, but the rest of the year, when is something obligated in Ma'asrot? Once they hit a certain point, you're obligated to give ma'asrot in them. So once they ripen, you're obligated to give ma'asrot. At what point is this ripening stage? So just like our Mishnah over here, the Rambam over here in the Mishnah and the Perush, he says, Hizrihu apagim, right? Once they hit the first stage, right, of that sheen to it, then you have to give ma'asrot. But if you do flip to Masechet Ma'asrot, it's really the second Mishnah over there. He actually mentions, the Mishnah actually mentions that it's obligated in ma'asrot in the latter stage, right? Once bihalu, mishiyabhilu, right? So it's interesting over here. I'm not sure what to do with this Harambam, because over here he does indicate that it's from the earlier stage that's going to be obligated in Ma'asrot. But if you look at the Mishnah later on, it seems to be from the latter stage. Other, Farshim asked this question, so really it's up in the air. I'm not sure how to answer Harambam over here, but as we said, right, you're not allowed to eat, to sum up, you're not allowed to eat fruits before their appropriate time in Shemitah year. And once they hit a sheen, it's like a shiny stage, you're allowed to eat them a little bit in the field. And once they ripen totally, you're allowed to bring them into your house.